Please welcome to the stage Rugare Gomo.
Where am I standing? Hello, everybody. I'm just going to soak in this moment. Whoever thought the boy from Rugare, Zimbabwe would be speaking at the Opera House? It's just extraordinary. I just want to honor my mom and my dad, who I've not spent 24 years with. They let me go when I was 16 years old. I miss them dearly because they believed in the possibility of a better life, across in this beautiful land, Australia. So a little bit about myself. Rugare is my name. I love saying my name. I could not say my name till I was 5 years old, so I'll say it. So all of us, Rugare. Rugare. That'll become our new meditation for today. No. So the moment I was born, the world was telling me who I could and couldn't be. Gay is worse than rapist. Gay is pedophile. Gay is shame upon your family. Gay is a lack of opportunity. The messages I received at home, at church, in my country, was that gay is an abomination. And what do we do with abominations? We eradicate them. So I lived my entire life in terror of being. So I think my microphone has gone. So what that looked like, I was like, I really love my Britney Spears microphone. I've made it today. So make sure it works. So what that looked like is, in my day-to-day, I would think in my head, am I walking like a straight man? Am I walking like a straight man? Of course, I didn't convince anybody. Is my voice deep enough? Do I fit in? And I would not even make eye contact, because to make eye contact, maybe you'll see that I am gay. So I spent a lot of my time in my head in terror, trying to cover up, who I was. Now, fast forward, I'm 20 years old, I was doing an arts law degree and majoring in French, so I was off to France, very excited. I'd created this internship for myself, and I was going to spend 6 months in France, in Chambéry, near the Alps. And so I was so excited, and then I was going to go on holiday to a place called Grenoble. It's freezing cold in Chambéry. It's snowing, it's icy. At the train stations, fortunately, they have, these firelight gases there. So I'm standing there, and this person comes over, warming their hands with this beautiful rainbow scarf. We start talking, and we have a great connection. Then we enter the train, and we just happen to be sitting opposite each other. And I'm like, yes, I get to practice my French. So, of course, we go through the usual things, where did you grow up? J'ai grandi au Zimbabwe. So I was so excited to be able to say a perfect French sentence, We had a good connection. This is 2005, so we exchanged email addresses, of course. There isn't the Instagram, the Facebook at that time. And so I go along my merry way, get home, and later that evening, open my computer, and there's this email from him. So I'm excited. Ooh, there's an email. And in the email, it says, "You are one of the most beautiful people I've ever met. We live close by. Maybe we can catch up for a little bit of And when I received this email, I was shocked and disgusted, because at this time I'm 20 years old, pretending to be a what? Straight man. Thank you very much. And so I, rock back on my chair in disgust and shock, and thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do now? There's an email, somebody suspects me of being gay, and it's in written form. So lawyer. So I respond, and this is what I say to him. Thank you very much for your email. I'm a Christian boy. Being gay is bad. Send. As you can imagine, the response that came back did not go down well. You know, as they say, hurt people, hurt people. So, as I continue spending the next 6 months in France, I kept on having these experiences of men approaching me. This doesn't happen anymore. But you know, I was like, if I was in my 20s, I was like, if I was free and out, that would have been amazing. But I was like, no, I didn't want these experiences because to be gay is a abomination. And what do you do with abominations? We eradicate them. That's how I lived my life day in, day out. So fast forward, you know, I couldn't take it anymore. I'd never expressed my sexuality whatsoever, and I'm like, I'm going to go back to Australia and I'm going to explore my sexuality. So get back to Australia, and I'm thinking, how does anybody meet anybody, you know? And at that time, there was gay.com. You know, there wasn't the app, so it was gay.com, where you can go into a private chat room and meet with somebody. So I go on gay.com, create my fake profile, and, you know, I start meeting men. And all my interactions, I had this principle for myself, meet once and never meet again, because I was so terrified. If somebody finds out I am gay, will I get deported? I'm in Australia as an international student. What will happen to my career? Will I get kicked out of the home? I didn't know any other gay people, you know, and so meeting men was all in secret. You know, I'd meet men in parks, public toilets, alleyways, also that I could explore my sexuality because I lived in terror. You know, and of course the men I was meeting with were also men who came from different walks of life, married men, men with girlfriends, you know, gay men as well. But a lot of the time, many of these men also felt that they were not free to be themselves. Easily would have probably hooked up with over 50 men, easy. And every single time I'd leave the interaction, you know, filled with shame and disgust with myself. You see, and I'm like, you see what an evil boy you are. You see, you're putting yourself at risk. You see, you're willing to jeopardize the opportunity of becoming or being in this beautiful country, Australia. It is always, every single time, the shame would overwhelm me. So then 6 months later, you know, it's Christmas time, I was a choir boy in a big mega church, having sex with lots of men and leading people into worship. And so on one of our choir practices, my foot becomes slightly sore, and I'm thinking, oh, well, you know, it's slightly sore, it's probably because we've been standing a lot. And then the next morning, I wake up and I'm in excruciating pain. You know, my body is so painful. If I was to move my hand, it was as if you're breaking the arm. You know, and if I was touched, it felt as if you were pumping electricity. And I'm screaming and I'm screaming and I'm screaming, and they rush me to hospital. And so at hospital, you know, I'm in the emergency, and they're like, what's going on? I'm like, I'm in so much pain, I have no idea what's going on. In my head, I'm thinking, the divine is now happening. This is the moment. Judgment Day has arrived. 50 men, and now it's time for Judgment Day. And so I'm in hospital, and then finally I'm seen by a doctor. Then the doctor, they asked this question: have you been sleeping with men or with women? And I'm like, what is going on here? And I have this moment of, do I tell the truth or do I lie? Because now it's going to be on my medical record. That's how I'm thinking. First there was that email from Grenoble, from that guy. Now, there's going to be a public record. But because I was in so much pain, I tell the truth. And again, the shame. So I whispered, I have sex with men. You know, then he just ticked a box, moved on. He left and I was left with my anger. And so then I got admitted, and in that one day, in less than 6 hours, I was visited by about 8 doctors. And do you know what each doctor asked? Yep. Do you sleep with females or men? And towards the 8th doctor, I yelled, talk to the other doctor, they already have their records! And then you know what it's like with the doctors, it's like, we want to hear it from you. So once again, I whisper, sex with men. Now, imagine, I grew up in the 90s. So in the 90s, Zimbabwe was heavily impacted by the HIV/AIDS epidemic. 1 in 4 adults were HIV positive, and people were dying like flies. Aunts, uncles, friends were dying to the point where the government actually funerals because it was impacting the economy. So think COVID, but a million times. In the 90s, there isn't any medications, at that time. So for me, association with sex, thank you very much. So for me, my association with sex is death. So again, it's not just the shame, but I'm putting myself at danger of death. It's a death sentence for me. And I'm in my 20s. So here I am, of course, at university, seeing all my other friends, my so-called heterosexual friends, seeming to enjoy their wonderful relationships. And I'm like, to enjoy a relationship is death. So, for the next 3 months, I'm in excruciating pain. I'm being tested on by the dermatology department, infectious diseases, cardiology, rheumatology, every single department you can imagine. They did tests on me and they found nothing. All they could find was that my white blood count cell was very high. I'm apparently white blood cells, I'm not a doctor, but my white blood cells were high. It was as if it was attacking a disease, but there was no disease in my body. So it started attacking me instead. So literally, my body was attacking itself. And it came to a head. I remember the rheumatologist was like, well, we're just going to try giving you steroids. And I'm thinking, yes, finally, I'm going to be buff. Finally, there's some good news in this story. Sex with 50 men, I'm a choir boy, and I'm going to be buff. Go home, do some research, and I realize that the steroids will thin my bones. I gain weight, and I'll be susceptible to diseases, and I'm going to have a lump on my neck. So that was not the image I had of myself or the life I wanted. So I remember going back to the rheumatologist, and then we had a conversation. And I remember lying on the table, and I said to myself, no way am I going to go. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm just not doing this. And I was like, I surrendered to my death. I actually this is what I told the doctor. I said to the doctor, I'm not doing this anymore. All the money that we're putting into me, we're going to stop doing that. This money should be put into education and helping people who matter. And I surrendered to my death. And I remember it so vividly because in that surrender, I also surrendered that I'm a gay man. And soon after that, I remember a friend from university coming to visit me. And she said, she came to visit me. She was this beautiful girl. And I remember seeing her at first year university, gorgeous. And I thought, she'd make a good wife. Look at that beautiful, glowy white skin and the brown hair. She's intelligent, etc. And then she sits down next to me, at home, and she says,